I want to go to Mrs. Mercy Makinde. You've told us from your story that you had a traumatic first marriage, and in a culture that frowns at divorce, and you have evolved from being just somebody that they will talk about as a divorcee to a role model for other women. And your passion is helping and advocating, that women should not just stay and die in those relationships. And the truth is, that it's not just women being abused. Men are also being abused and being killed as well. So, now, how do you help women in what you do and with what you've learned from family system engineering program that you had? You're a certified practitioner. How do you help women gain wholeness? How do you help them stay in the place where they are safe and do what they are meant to do?
Okay, so I started out being passionate, not being knowledgeable. So it was just about the passion. Oh, this thing that happened to me, it must not happen to anybody. And I was just going about doing what I know how to do best with my native intelligence, according to my organ.
Our boss.
So along the line, and I realized, it was back to back. Every weekend I'll be speaking somewhere, I'll be doing one activity, and I was burning out. And one time I was thinking about it, but I stumbled on a quote that says, you can't pour into an empty cup. Yeah. Take care of yourself first. And I'm like, I've been pouring and I'm not replenishing. So sometime last year, I told myself, no more speaking engagement. And I started out intentionally going for programs. Now, Mrs. Ogunlesi that left here, she's my mentor. And I remember a few days before the launch of Amazing Amazon, she did say to me that, Mercy, look, what you want to do, you want to become carrier of people's destiny. You're out, you want to stretch yourself, you want to help women. So you really need to know what you're doing. You really need to be grounded. So you need to take courses. And I started doing courses online. And how many people have tried out online courses? I don't know the kind of discipline that you get, but for me, it was a struggle to finish one. I'm still on some, actually, that I paid for last year. I'm still on the courses. So it wasn't really easy. And I said, okay, you know what? I will stop doing this online and go for classes. So I started, and you know what they say, the law of attraction, when you set your heart to do something, the law of the attraction, the universe conspires to make it happen for you. So before I knew anything, people were even inviting me for courses I didn't even pay for. So I had UNICEF invite me, the British Council will invite me, and I'll get trained. So over time, I equipped myself. Of course, I came for FESEC. So I was able to change a lot of my native intelligence, things that I thought were right, that I was doing wrongly, just like Pastor said, I was able to change that. This same me sitting here used to tell women, look, if your husband does not pay the school fees, let those children not go to school. I know I've told a lot of women that, yes, until my Oga taught me that. That scripture did not say he.
Very true.
The scripture said that the person who does not provide, and it can be male or female. Yeah. So even if the woman is not providing, she's also committing a sin. Yeah. She's also an infidel. And that corrected a lot of things.
Very true.
Part of the things I learned. This same me, some years back, will tell you, if there's anything like a next life, I will come as a man. All my friends are men. Come on. I relate better with guys. I'm even a tomboy. Forget about the weave on, no. Just forget about all this. This is packaging for conference. So I always say to myself, look, in my next life, I'll be a guy. I don't get it. I don't know why I came as a woman. And I don't even like the idea of being a woman. But now that has changed. Working with women mentoring me, women coaching me. I understand the beauty of being a woman. Maybe because of the abuse I suffered. Maybe that was what made me feel that, no, it's not even worth it being a woman. So it was, for me, a struggle. But now all of that has changed. I can go on and on and on about the things I have learned by putting myself to tutoring, mentoring. So passion is not enough. You need so much more to put this together. And that's what I've been doing over time. This is my first speaking engagement this year, I think. Because I just cut myself off from speaking. Yeah. Like, let me even pour into myself. So that's really helped me.
Thank you so much. What she's saying, in essence, is your native intelligence is not enough. Even if you have a message, go and refine it. Go and get educated. Go and learn so that you can impact those that God has brought your way to impact. Or tell your story better to be an influence and not to be a pain and a burden to those that will listen eventually. Okay, Pastor Amos.
Go back out of our marriage before. He said, I don't love you. I only marry you because of your brother in government. And they are not giving me contracts. That's why. And I said, sister, you're going to die here. And the covenant of life is higher than covenant of marriage. You must live before you can marry. And Bible does not say the dead do us part. The Bible says the dead do us part, but this say we should kill ourselves. So we need to actually help people. We have been talking to most of the religious leaders who have influence over people to look for a way to train themselves about this thing. We need the knowledge. Passion is not enough. And we need beyond ordinary Bible. We need to know what works with people. Very, very important.
Thank you so much, sir. You've been an example of that truth. Thank you for living that truth. Okay, Uncle Sonny, let me come back to you.
Yes.
So I don't make you the last man standing.
Let me respond to from the. I came in again. No, I'm tired of saying I'm sorry.
No, it's
You
okay.
see, what Pastor said now is so powerful, and I'm happy that it's coming from a pastor. Charity begins at home. You don't want anything done to you in a wrong way. Why do it to others? That's the first principle of human decency. If you believe that your mother is better than other people's mothers, you will never say your mama. You will never say waka. You begin to learn the language of decency, language of, unity, cohesion, respect, respect for rights, respect for the rule of law. The rule of law starts from the home. It doesn't start from government. The people that left government, or rather that are in government, came from home. Is there anybody here that is not born of a woman? So why would you beat your wife if nobody dares beat your mother or your sister or your daughter? Those are the questions that we address first. How you address or how you confront the problems of dealing with self. Control. Respect for self. Self-control. Humility. Patience. The ability to know that the other person is a human being like you. Those are the elements that will give you a chance to stand and walk tall like other people and say, I'm a man. Or I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, this mama here just said she dressed for this occasion.
She packaged.
Yes, packaged. Thank you. It took me a long time to determine what I should wear to come here, and I'm regretting. Because I'm so westernized, and I'm seeing Nigerians here, and I'm proud of you guys, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This one is a confusion of Nigeria versus. But anyway, to come to the issue of publicity, media.
Creating positive role models, because you are one.
You sure?
Yes.
Thank God. Femi will attest to that. He's my friend. But I'm 36 years married, and I thank God for that.
Please, a round of applause. It's not beans, it's not more to be 36 years with one woman.
And
Thank
I
you,
married my
sir.
friend.
Yeah.
I married my friend. So we fight, we make up, we make love too. And you know what?
Very important.
Yes. But you know what? When we disagree, we review things. We do not hold back. So because of that, we are both media practitioners. We also experience, or rather, we recount our experiences. Sometimes on my program, I talk about how my marriage went. I just put a test case, because sometimes you are interviewing people, and they're telling you about their stories or other people's stories. And you say, oh, I've been there before. The truth is, if you don't use yourself as an example, you cannot tell the truth to yourself, neither can you tell the truth to the world.
Very true.
So because of that, I just put myself, I'm a guinea pig first, too. Whatever you want to tell me, see me as the lab guinea pig. But guess what? I have feelings, too.
Yeah.
So if I inject any venom into you, I will probably know that when you are reciprocating, you might do worse. So that will give me a chance to think twice before I strike. I struck one young man before, many, many, many years ago. When he retaliated, the stars I saw, I don't know where he got the energy from, because I felt I was bigger than him. From that moment, I'm not trying again. No. I'm just giving you practical examples that can natural situations and other actions that are either in the books. Thank God for the Bible. And there are other philosophical books that will guide you on how to manage yourself before you manage others. If you're a good father, you'll be a good leader.
Yeah.
If you're a good husband, you'll be a good politician. That's the truth. But if you're a politician that loves those women and you leave your wife behind, she's putting on weight, she's not looking happy, and you say, okay, is this how, when I married, is that how you were? You don't know the wear and tear that led to her looking this way. Probably 90% was caused by you. So charity must begin from self. Not just home, from self.
Okay.
So therefore, as a media practitioner, I will dwell more on giving a positive information that will help me win more souls to the points I'm trying to raise.
Thank you.
I hope I haven't doubled.
Yes, you did justice to it. We'll come with your last question, but
Sorry,
for now,
madam,
yeah.
why was the handshake and the clapping so?
You better clap. Okay, Mr. Femi Jacobs. Yes, it's your turn. And the question is a very interesting one, and I know you will do justice to it. So there is a worrisome trend of marriages going sour with some of our celebrities and public figures. How can this trend be reversed?
Me?
No, Mr. Femi. It's a worrisome trend.
I don't know. For a bit now, I felt very marginalized because I'm the only one that's not married here. It's not been married. I'm used to being ignored like that.
No.
Just like society tends to ignore people who are single.
Femi, don't do that to me. I didn't
almost-
ignore you.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Why I say this is most of the problems that people have, we are complicit in creating those problems for them. See, you can say people have individual choices to make. You can say that everybody retains their agency. But that is being smart by half, because we're not recognizing that part of our makeup as human beings is our ability to, our proclivity to want to be accepted by others. Whether you're a strong moral agent or you're a loose moral agent, part of your motivation for doing most of what you do is because you know that a vast majority of people are going to want to associate with you more, they're going to respect you more, they're going to accept you more. We jointly have created this myth that your humanity is incomplete if you are not married. You do not want to know, and the statistics are not available, to show us how many people have compromised their common sense, how many people have mortgaged their sense of judgment, good judgment, how many people have distorted their perception of life, of truth, by rushing into marriage, because we all think that only then could they be respected, accepted, loved, promoted. In fact, a man of God told me, you know that you can't be a pastor if you're not married. I don't want to mention names. He's a very prominent man of God. So he says, you better go and marry. He didn't say you better plan to be happily married. You better plan, you better learn what it means to be married. You better begin to prepare for marriage. No, it's you better go and marry. In fact, when I was in the bank, one of them told me that, do you know that a particular point in your career, you cannot be promoted beyond a particular level if you're not married? That is the truth, actually. It's a fact. We together have created this right. Many people push me every day. I mean, every single day. And this is the trend. My colleagues are here and they're getting married. I can see them. I can see the pressure they're having to get married. And when they get married, a new set of pressure comes. Have kids. After they have the first kid, another pressure. Have another kid. Then another pressure. Then another pressure. Waves and waves and waves of ignorant pressure to vicariously live our fantasy and our romanticization of this thing, this marriage. It is not that it is not important. It is far more important to be a decent human being. It is far more important to be a human being who contributes to society. Part of fixing the problem in marriage is not forcing people to marry.
Get married. Beautiful. Please tweet that. Everyone tweet that.
It is not everyone. I can be honest with you. I knew where I was emotionally, where I was psychologically, spiritually, financially. And when I say to people, I am not ready, I know what I am saying. I mean, did you make me come to Lagos? I came because I knew it was going to be a good decision. And I said to you, was it? Yes, it was. Now trust me to make a good one concerning when, who, and how I marry. Because when it breaks apart, some of you in my comment section telling me to go and marry are the same ones that will go on Instablog Nigeria to go and tell me I messed it up. And you will not say that you were the ones that pushed me to go and marry. People have said to me, I will sponsor your wedding. I say, I need money for this project. No. Marry first. I will sponsor the wedding. If money is your problem, the man is a real estate giant. He developed most of the properties in Ikoyi. I will give you a house if you marry. I said, will you make more money when I marry? He said, don't ask me questions. Just. Now, this is a pressure group that is remote. I don't see him every day. He's just an interested uncle because he likes my charisma and all of that. He just wants to be my friend. How about if you were my mother? How about if you were my father? Someone that I cannot but see every single day. So you see, we can sit back and say, these guys are making a mess of this institution. I think, first of all, we need to ask ourselves, in what ways have we contributed to some of the pressure that people are feeling and getting? I know for a fact, I mean, you know that for the past 10 years, my friends have been getting married. Friends that I grew up with. 90% of their reasons for doing it is not right. It is not right. It is not altogether. In fact, it is now very rare to meet someone who says, I so much love this guy, I can't imagine living without him. That's why I'm marrying him. It's so hard to see people, young people, who have 50 years of life to live, not looking forward with so much hope and expectation and aspiration. They're looking forward with a sense of duty. And I don't understand. You're a human being. Uncle Sonny said, I have feelings too. Yeah. You do have feelings. And your feelings will catch up with you. You may have satisfied everybody. But when you shut the windows at night, your heart will say, how about me? What are you doing for me? And your dreams are going to call your name. Have you married based on your understanding of what your purpose in life is? Or have you married based on what you think people are going to say about you? Uncle Sonny has a beautiful marriage. They complement each other. They're in the same industry. There are certain aspects of his job he doesn't have to explain to Auntie Betty. He doesn't have to go ahead and I dated somebody and I have to tell her why I put a post up on Instagram. She doesn't understand it. Why?
So they go out with garbage, and when they are criticized, they take offense. But you see, your truth shall set you free. Yeah. So the more garbage you vomit, the more smell that comes out of the garbage. The stations that are so many now, if there is no training, I heard a few talks about training here just now. If there is no training, there will be no improvement. Training can come from self, can come from the organization you represent, and all that and all that. But what's important is NBC sets up a broadcasting code. Many stations don't follow it. And so what NBC ought to be doing, and they are not exactly doing, is make an example of a station that messes up. When you control, when you how do you use that word now? What does the police do? You enforce. The level of crime, the level of degradation, the level of misrepresentation and falsehood and all kinds of inimical and negative things will reduce. But when there's no supervision, all hell will turn loose. So I believe that charity still has to begin from home. Go and learn how to do what you have professed yourself to do. Because if you cannot do it well, there's no reason to be there at all. I wanna is not an OAP language for any station anywhere in Nigeria. We speak English. We speak British English. That's what we're colonized by. That's our first language. But today we have so many different types of English everywhere. We don't know whether it's pidgin or broken or English or American or whatever. But I'm being told now that there's Nigerian English, all protocol observed. It's not true. There's no such English. So, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm trying to say is the gibberish continues unless we create a form of orderliness that will lead us to the promised land.
Thank you. Okay, you want to add something, okay?
Uncle Sonny, I want to attack you.
Yes, ma'am.
You know we're both in the same sector.
Yeah.
So you said that NBC should discipline stations that...
Yes.
How they're already doing that now. They give us fine. They fine us. So is it by shutting our stations down?
Oh, yes. You can be shut down. Because if you do not lead by example, you cannot show any example. The simple truth is, they've given you a code. Do you obey the code? That's the first question. If you do not obey the code, start from that. There's so many falsehoods. I beg, leave matter.
Okay, thank you so much. So if you want to raise those role models that our children will look up to, we as parents will have to live the truth that we want them to live, okay? So we have specific questions to specific people. So I'm going to start with Pastor Amos, okay? Somebody here is... asking you a question. Okay. First of all, thank you. I have. Thank you so much. So, as a Christian, the only privilege given to divorce a so that and my sister Mercy can answer as well. Say, as a Christian, the only privilege given to divorce a woman or man is adultery in the Bible. So she's talking from, he or she is talking from a Christian perspective. So if I'm emotionally abused by my wife or husband, can I leave the marriage?
I can't give a generalized answer because we need to actually look at the case as one. We need to look at case. I can't be generalizing because we need to look at it as one. So I can't just say because you are emotionally abused, you can leave the marriage. Because we actually need to look at what is leading to emotional abuse. We also need to look at who is the abuser. We need to look at so many things. But one of the only recommendation, I preach a message sometimes I say, when divorce is the only answer. It's a message I preached, which means you can divorce. But if life is going to be living, if you are going to live your life, you can divorce. If so many things is involved, you can divorce. But I don't want anybody to quote me that Pastor must now say you can divorce. But we need to look at that case from a point of view. In fact, I've seen couples that engage in adultery and they still don't divorce.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Very true.
I see where they can forgive each other. Are you with me?
Very true.
I've seen a woman that went to adultery and her husband discovered and she confessed and they are still together today.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yes.
So I can see divorce. I can see adultery the only reason for divorce. It might not even be the reason for divorce. Amen?
Amen.
Now, a lot of...
That's the pastor in him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I thought
okay.
I'm in church. I've done this for 33
It's
years.
okay. For over 30 years.
So-
So it's okay.
So I feel there are more to it
Yeah.
than that. In Africa, they believe when you don't have children in marriage, you are not married. How many of you know that's an African culture?
Yeah.
But we have seen people with 4 children divorcing, even when there's children. So it's not about children. It's about so many other things. So I wouldn't advise you to leave the marriage based on adultery. And I also advise you to just leave your marriage without talking to a counselor, somebody that can guide you.
Okay.
Because when you are inside the river, you need somebody that can carry you on life that time.
Okay.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
can
Thank
say.
you, sir. One more question for you, Pastor Amos. Say, how do we react to more men who are struggling with limiting beliefs from their upbringing that is affecting the family system today?
That is a very huge problem because men have been told that we are in charge of everything. And women have been told that you can't just tell your husband anything. But I want to say this, that a lot of time we can encourage our men to some relationship that can help their life. Because we need more than the love of our wife and the love of our family to live. There are people that are connected to your husband that can influence her or him. Now, I intentionally built some friendship with my wife. Some of the people I discover is tending towards, and I know they have a positive value in our marriage. I encourage that relationship so that I can influence her. Sometimes you may not be able to influence your spouse directly, no matter how close you are. But there are people that are around her that can influence her better. So what you can do as a woman is to get somebody that can influence, that has influence over your husband. And there is somebody that has influence over your husband, whether you believe it or not, who can really make a change in the life of that person. Because it's a lot of work. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mrs. Dodger Allen. Your question is, one is culture can be imported, as Prof told us. The keynote speaker said that. Said now our good mothers in the olden days were not wearing trousers.
You are in trouble. Even when we started our ministry some 20-something years ago, when the woman wear trousers, she stopped permitted to enter our church. She had to stay out at the outer court. But now we know better. So there is nothing like trouser. It's a cultural thing. Let me give you this. One of my spiritual sons in Dublin, a woman went to do omogo, they call it. and he's a deeper life woman, and he saw everybody in the church wearing trousers. And when you have been to Dublin, you know it's a very cold place. So the woman went to the pastor and said, why do you allow people to be wearing trousers in this church? This is a sin. But after 6 months, Madam was wearing 3 trousers.
I think in addition to what Pastor has said.
Okay.
In addition to what Pastor has said, I think specifically as a culture, what we should condemn is cross-dressing. You will agree with me. If you're a man, don't dress like a woman. If you're a woman, don't dress like a man. Specifically, also transgender. If you're a man, don't go and change yourself to become a woman. If you're a woman, don't change yourself to become a man. I think that once we understand the differences here, then it's easy.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Mrs. Makinde, you want to make a contribution on emotional abuse? But
Yes.
wait, please. I have another question so that you take it as well. And that question is, what would a woman who was tricked into separation in a marriage do? And what would a woman whose husband did not allow to work or do business deliver herself from such situation while in that marriage? For you, specifically for you.
Okay.
So after the emotional thing.
My brain is not that magnetic. So
Okay,
you will
so
take the question here when I finish the first one. Okay, so I'll talk about the emotional abuse. Now, unfortunately, we live in a society where we don't recognize emotional abuse as an abuse as serious as domestic and physical abuse. So when you hear abuse, you just think it's about blow. They punch your eye. No, there are different forms of abuse. And emotional is one of them. Economic is one of them. Spiritual abuse is one of them. So if you want to go to a particular church or you want to belong to a particular religion and your husband or spouse, I mean, if it is a woman or if it's a man, your spouse is saying, no, that's spiritual abuse. It's social abuse. When you're not allowed to mix with the kind of, with the people, your social capital that you want to mix with. So emotional abuse it carries the same weight. And I'm responding as a professional, not as a pastor, please. So now, if you report to any organization about emotional abuse, it is this same steps that you would take if it was a case of physical abuse. And for us, we will not tell you leave. It's your decision. If you decide that you cannot contain it anymore, because this emotional abuse can lead to depression and eventually suicide. So if that way, the person is going to die, just like a blow will make the person die. So if the woman decides that, look, I cannot contain it anymore and I want to leave, we would support that decision and help the person go through with it. Emotional abuse requires the same therapy that domestic physical abuse require. So it is as serious. It's just unfortunate that in our society, when somebody reports family again, who are the ones that the greatest enabler of abuse, the first thing they will say, is he paying school fees? Your answer is yes. Is he eating your food? Yes. Is he bringing another woman home? No. So please, my sister, just continue to manage. And many women have died in the process of this management. If you have to manage anything, please let it be your company and not managing a bad situation. That's one. Then,
the question, yeah.
The other one says, what would a woman who sees
Who was tricked into
separation in her marriage do?
And
I really do not understand what you mean by tricked into separation. But if the man doesn't want you, no, he has asked you to leave, so you leave and continue your life. You can't force somebody to love you.
Okay.
You can't force somebody to marry you. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to. I hope that suffices because I really don't understand the context in which you mean tricked.
So maybe the person should see her later. And then the second question
Exactly.
is...
Then the other question says, what would a woman whose husband did not allow her to work or do business? So that's economic abuse, basically.
Yeah.
Now listen and listen well. In the domestic violence law of Lagos State, by the laws, the current and existing laws of Lagos State, be prosecuted. So if you have that kind of situation, you report it. Even if he's not letting you work, but he's also not even providing. Even if you're separated and he's not living up to his obligation of sending you school fees for your children or money for upkeep, that kind of case should be reported. And he will get an instant order to carry out his obligations.
Thank you. Please, Uncle Sonia, help us quickly answer this. Please, a round of applause for her. Let's appreciate our panelists. They are doing a wonderful job. So, Uncle Sonia, what kind of help can you get for a male sibling who is emotionally, psychologically, and financially abused in his marriage? And unfortunately, he's the one making excuses for his wife. I'm afraid he may just pass away one day.
Go to C. C fails, go to D. Just keep going until you go back to A if necessary. But God blessing you, you will not get to that level because He would have seen that you have tried. If you have a good wife or partner, the same way, they will also try to help you. But some guys that I know, when you try to help them, especially if it's coming from their wives, they say, no, I beg. Or even their mother or father-in-law, no, I beg. My mother said I should not allow her mother to do this or that. You see, you are the owner of your life.
Yeah.
You must determine if we're going to marriage. Femi said just now, I'm not ready, man. If I ain't ready, I ain't ready, period.
Yeah.
Am I quoting you wrongly?
No.
So, I'm trying to say, I will not go into a marriage. I do not know the just and the negative or pros and cons of it, I have to go into a marriage because I know my partner. I know what she wants. She knows what I want and what I like. I know when we start bearing children, we should be able to live within our means to take care of those children. There are the poor people, there are the middle class people, and there are the so-called rich people. But for goodness sake, we have levels of life. All fingers are not equal.
Yeah.
So I would not want to mimic her. All I can do is make sense of what she's saying, and if I can learn from it, I'll use it to aid my own life. That's the way I look at life. So, my dear, there should be nothing like emotional or any of such abuse unless you give yourself to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah. So don't give your power away. Empower yourself and have a voice, okay? Thank you so much. Please, let's keep tweeting. African Family Life, let's keep tweeting. I want to ask this question, and I'll come to Mrs. Dodger Allen. I want to ask Femi Jacob. What do you think is the healthy boundary for feminism? We see it all the time, where people are a feminist, and these days it's as if, will I say, they want to just say the men should not exist. So what do you think is the boundary, healthy boundary for feminism?
Okay, as a person who is living in this age, times in which you live, and know each of them to the point of mastery. Not necessarily because that is important for your own happiness and balanced state of being. You're also responsible for people to whom you must explain these things. Cynicism, melodramatization of the situation, these are manifestations of intellectual dishonesty. When you don't want to understand something, you come up with all kinds of ridicules, all kinds of things to describe it. The simplest way to look at it is to look at your own life and say, see, what I must always find is level. Regardless of how long lives have gone on, truth will eventually, the reason why marriages are falling apart is because some people, there's a particular pastor that came to see my pastor when I was still a PA to my pastor before, and he was talking about his wife. He was giving his wife so much accolade, talking about some of the things that the wife was doing. But my small brain at that time knew that this testimony is unsustainable. See, some of the things, even though you are grateful for it, you have to know what you are enjoying is costing somebody else. And you have to, it's all the males sitting in this room, you cannot say that you do not know that there's a problem. There's a gender problem around you. If you say so, then you are very, very insincere. The way the Uber driver treats you as a man, probably who has even not achieved anything in his life, is different from the way that same Uber driver treats your fellow woman who is at the same level of life or even maybe higher than you. There's a way they will not talk to them. There's a way they will not address them even when they are wrong. There is a way that you treat a woman that hits your car in traffic that you don't treat a male person like that, even if the person is the wrong party. If you say you do not understand these problems, then I wonder whether your mind is working the right way it should work. Because now you are seeing male privilege. You are enjoying it. But you are not making a mental note. And the way there's where they change it now. They have a mistress outside. I mean, I have people who are paying rent in different local governments. And no, I'm not against men. I'm a man myself. Yeah. But I do not want to be a person who enters a restaurant and eats and does not pay money. We have to pay for what we're eating, man. We have to take care of the woman, and we stop insulting this, their movement. It is necessary. Because if we put down the woman, we will destroy our planet. The men don't care that much. Women are the ones who create the succor, the strength. So, see, I know the religious sentiments are challenged right now. I know that you're morally challenged. I know that you feel threatened. But get to understand the movement first. Understand it. When you understand it, you can influence it. Maybe you can help them to change it to gender balance. But guess what? When something has moved that way for so long and for so long, you can't now say it is moving too fast in this other direction. No, let it move fast enough to come to the center. When it comes to the center, then we will find a meeting point. But let us support that conversation. Let us support it. Let us understand it and support it. Let us understand that our lives depend on it. Look, can I even be honest with you? Economically, men are not making it anymore. Rents are not getting paid anymore. School fees are not getting paid anymore. Because gone are the days when you begin to say men are the breadwinners. They're losing bread everywhere now. If you do not empower the women around you, you are finished. If you do not try to help them to rise up, even your own survival is doubtful. Okay, so let's not forget about the name they call it. Forget about they want to occupy Ojota. Was occupy Ojota, but I didn't want to occupy Ojota, but I understand what they were talking about. Get to the substance of the conversation. That's what makes you relevant. But if you stand on the outside, you're throwing some, they want to wipe men out of the face of the earth. When you wanted to wipe women out, what were you doing?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes,
you.
Mrs. Doctor wants to add to it. Okay.
Thank you, Femi. Well spoken in favor of the women. But you know, in addition to what Femi has just said, you know, he did say that men are no longer making are breadwinners, men are struggling, and all of those things. If you find yourself as a woman being the breadwinner or supporting your husband, it doesn't give you the right to speak down on him, though. What about that aspect? Because you feel that you're doing it doesn't make it right for you to speak down on the man. You know, I am a feminist, you know, and I pride myself as a feminist by I support fellow women to reach their potentials, you know, your objectives, your goal, and everything that you want to do. However, when I speak and I talk about being a feminist, I'm specific and deliberate about saying that it doesn't mean that I undermine the authority of a man. You know, the Bible says that the man is the head of the woman, and that is what it is. A woman shouldn't consider herself equal to the man. Femi has spoken for us. Let me speak for the man.
That's in marriage.
As well,
in marriage.
In terms of the marriage.
Yes.
Okay? Women are supposed to respect your husband. If you are in that category where maybe somehow you're finding yourself as the breadwinner of the house, if you're a Christian, go and read Proverbs 31. That is a Proverbs 31 woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Please just quickly take that, your question. Say, what do you do when you and your spouse don't share the same drive towards life? One is ambitious, the other is laid back. In a society and culture where women are considered to be submissive and home builders, how can I make so much positive influence on my kids if my spouse shares a different view about what our family values should be?
Okay, thank you. So, this person is married, I want to assume.
Yeah, she's married.
Married man or woman.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me talk about it from the aspect of the Bible. The Bible says, and two shall become one. So, if you are married and you share the different values about life, like you rightly said, same different drive or whatever, I think you can influence, one person can influence the other person, isn't it? And I think, again, talking from because you see, I'm a Christian, I draw a lot of virtues from the Bible, I draw a lot of strength from the Word of God. So it might be like I'm tilted towards that way. You know, the Bible says, for by strength shall no man prevail. So anytime I find myself weak and I'm struggling with something and I go to God and I pray about it, I ask for grace. And I want to say the same thing. Whatsoever that you think that you are going through in your marriage, your ambition is one is laid back, pray about it. Yeah. Take it to God in prayer. Don't try and fight it in the flesh. If you fight it in the flesh, you will fail. If you fight it in the flesh, you come across as confrontational and a nag. Pray about it. Ask for grace. Speak to the man. If it's a man or a woman, I don't know who wrote this. Either way, speak to yourselves. Encourage each other with positive words.
May I just add
Yes.
a word or two? Again, if you choose to go into a relationship, I'm not even talking just about marriage now. A relationship, there has to be that basic mutual trust. If you do not have any trust and you go gossiping, telling tales about your own spouse or friend, boy or girl, you just get a third party to always be the arbiter. In that relationship, believe it or not, you're destined for doom. Why do I say this? Because the same person you went talking to may take it to the next person, and you know the ripple effect? Yeah. And then the story goes everywhere. And these days of social media, you hear rumor has it that, quote and unquote. Yes. Then the other aspect is, even where discuss with your spouse, my dear, these are my concerns. If you cannot say it, put it in writing. Or these days, send it as text.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay? Let's gauge how the person reacts or responds. Could be because of something that happened some weeks, days, or months ago. Whatever it is, something must have led to that very drastic reaction. Yeah. So what you do is, patience is virtue. And you need to actually play that game a bit better. There's too much of gallivanting, talking, gossiping, and carrying rumors that you don't know the foundation. Somebody tells you, okay, this is my sweetheart here, and somebody comes to tell me where they saw her, what she was saying and doing. When I get home, I'll start keeping malice with her. That's the beginning of that. Yes, that there must be room for giving benefit of the doubt and also getting the other side of the story. So this relationship thing is not that easy. Please make the best, but be patient.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Mrs. Mercy Makinde, how do you help balance the life of children or some parents will say they don't exist, but you see the child manifest negative tendencies or traits. How do you help these children?
Okay, so in my native intelligence, I used to be very firm. I'm not a permissive parent. I am not one of those parents that will say, my children must be my friend. I am their mother, but I can be a friendly mother. So, before I started the professional practice, I'm very firm. To illustrate how firm I can be, on the 29th of April, just this April, just they passed, I arrested my two sons with 6 mobile police. They are age 23. My first son is 23. My second is 20. Oh. What was their crime? They don't sweep. was on a Saturday morning. I say, wait. On Sunday, they woke up. They didn't come to apologize. They sent me a text. Mommy, I'm sorry. I say, me. You embarrass me publicly and you apologize privately. I'm not going to take it. So, Monday morning. And I begged the police because I have 2 generations of children. So I have the ones in their 20s and I have the toddlers, the 7, 8s, the small ones, because of my second marriage. And when they were yelling at me, those ones were listening. So I had to do something that even those ones will learn from.
Will learn.
So on Monday morning, I had already called the police. They were like, they'll come on Sunday. I'm like, you know what? Sunday afternoon will not work. I want you to come and see the situation I'm talking about. Because the rule in my house is, you wake up at 6 and you clean. If you like, you can go back to sleep. That's your problem. But my house cannot be cleaned by 8 or 9. No. You have to start cleaning the house by 6. The little ones can wake up by 5, and I wake up by 5. Because you are in Babcock University, you cannot wake up by 5. But I'm even stretching it to you. I say, wake up at 6, and it's still a problem. I say, okay. So on Monday morning, I told the police people, please try and come before 7. So that those little ones, before they go to school, from his room to the living room to sleep, because the AC there was cooler than his room.
Oh my God.
So he's still sleeping at 7 when the policemen came. The other ones were in the room. The one that yelled at me, because when I was making my report, I kept saying, so Isaac, so that name stuck. So when they opened the gate for them, when they entered, thank you, they just kept saying, where is Isaac? So that one from his sleep woke up and ran into the toilet. So the policemen entered the house, and then they slapped that one that was sleeping in the living room. Maybe he even thought I was the one. So he woke up like, when he just saw 6 armed policemen. See, I didn't call ordinary police. I called mobile police, in case you know the difference. So when he saw the mobile police, he was humble. So they started beating them right there. Beat all of them. Isaac locked the toilet door. Those people were begging him, open the door. I said, look, Oga, now my door. Break him. I will fix it. Break it. Bring him out. When he heard that, he came out. And they started beating them. And I told them, I said, they don't sweep my house. Please, when you go, let them sweep your compound. That's the command, the police command. Police command is bigger than normal police station.
They have an advocate here. He will answer you later.
Yes, I know.
Barrister Akilame is not smiling.
Yes, I know he's not smiling.
He's not smiling at this.
Praise will not be smiling. I almost called Praise for that day, but I said, you know what? I will do this without consulting them.
Gangsta mom.
So I told them, they don't wash plates when they eat. Let them wash your plates. I told them everything they were doing wrong. One of them was, and I had my brother-in-law, my husband's nephew in the house. I said, carry all of them. Even that one.
It was the one that didn't commit a crime.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
they're all
God.
the same. They all sit down to watch APL and they don't do anything. So I said, carry that one as well. And they smoked.
So what's the lesson they've learned?
So when they came back, long story short, when they got there, so they didn't treat them like criminals.
Yeah.
It was just like an arrangement. I didn't walk in to do a petition to the commissioner, the normal process. It was just for them to understand that if you think you're beyond parental control, there are other forms of control. So it wasn't like it was like arresting a criminal. It was just a setup. Yes, an arrangement.
Yeah.
So they went there, they swept the yard, they washed the gutter, they washed all the plates, dusted all the police station, they did everything. So they came back. The next morning, I got breakfast in bed. The next morning, I got breakfast in bed. I was still, Mommy, breakfast.
Treat you well now.
Oh, really? Nice.
You reformatted them
to
your
their
way.
room. Their bed, for the first time ever, that they were turned to grown boys, was properly laid. Their shoes, those sneakers, well arranged. I took a video of the room. I sent to my younger sister, and she said, so I have 2 sisters. One lives with me, the other one doesn't live with me. So I sent the one who doesn't live with me a video of the room. Yeah. She said, Auntie Mercy, what do you want me to do with Bella's room? I said, no, this is not Bella's room. This is the boys' room. She couldn't believe it. And since then, it was as if we had an automatic reset of their life, their medulla oblongata, everything. So now, I'm not saying that everybody should go and arrest their children with police.
Don't go that way,
But what I'm saying is that do not be permissive. Do what you have to do to get the results you have to get. For the little, particularly the boys, I have 4 boys. So I have to wear my trousers really tight. I don't wear loose-fitting trousers. The little ones, they saw the lesson, and everybody sat tight.
Okay.
So they follow their timetable, because I have a timetable for my kids. For time for TV, time to play outside, time to do this, time to do that. You know, everybody just plays around with it. But now everybody's strict on their timetable.
Beautiful.
And everybody's just working like the hand of the clock. I can actually sit in my house and I don't yell. I'm not screaming. I'm not talking about anything. Everything is working like the hand of the clock. So dear parents, whatever you have to do, my children don't watch TV Mondays to Fridays.
Yeah.
That's another measure I put. You might look at it as being wicked, but it's giving me the result I want. As much as I try, those ones that don't watch TV Monday to Friday, they still know how to sing some of these songs that I don't understand where they got it from. You can imagine if there are those rules are not even in place at all. So we have so much to worry about. You can use your native intelligence, you can use your professional experience, but you just have to do what you have to do to put these children in check. If not, one day you will meet your parlor outside on your street.
Thank you so much. Okay, Pastor Amos, you are taking the last question and then we'll wrap up. Everybody, like, should I say 15 seconds? So the last question says, how young is too young to be a family therapist? Being that people believe that you need years of practical experience before you...
I don't believe age determines maturity.
Okay.
I entered ministry at the age of 22. I got married at the age of 24. I started so many things very early in life. Depending on the way you are raised and some of the responsibility you have been taking, that affects your maturity. But if it's a passion for you, if it's something you are being led to do,
Send us criticisms on areas of improvement, and just send us suggestions on what you think we can do better to help positive family values. Thank you.
Mr. Jacob, your final word?
Okay, parents are not authorities on anything. They can be examples of good values and behaviors, but they are not the limit on dreaming and innovation. They should let the kids develop holistically without interfering overbearingly in their affairs. You cannot be an authority on anything. God is the authority on everything. But you can be a guide morally, but you cannot be the limit in innovation and dreaming. You have to allow these things to flourish. You have to know that when people grow powerfully under you, it does not diminish your power. It actually exemplifies it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Mrs. Mercy Makinde.
So my final words really is that you shouldn't be an enabler of anything negative in the family. Don't be an enabler. Rather, resource yourself. If you want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, you go to study how to become one. So if you want to become a parent, study. Take on courses, live classes, online courses on how to become a good parent. It doesn't come by default. You're not born with it. If you want to get into a marriage, go and study how to become a good spouse. It doesn't come naturally. It's not a birthmark. You have to acquire the skills. You have to resource yourself.
Uncle Sunny?
Parents, listen to your children. Children, listen to your parents. But please, humility is the order of the day for progress. And if you really want to move on in life, put God first. And then just listen to that correction, because if it is correct, it's because you had the opportunity to be corrected. Do not resist what is good and embrace what is bad. Just listen to one another and share experiences.
Thank you so much. On this final note, I want to say thank you to our panelists, and to say my own final word is for us to know that God is the first feminist, because he made man, male, female, made them equal. So go home with that thought and keep that thought. God bless us all. Yeah. Thank you.
They deserve more than that. Quite an educative, insightful, and equally entertaining plenary session. Thank you to all of our panelists. I know that hearts are transformed and Africa will be better. I keep reiterating, at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, we don't just organize conferences. We do what? Transformations. Put your hands together for yourselves. And so, some people have been asking, what is family systems engineering? And how can I be a part of that? I won't take our time talking about that, but I just want to direct you to the brochures you have, particularly on page 8. We gave a little brief of what the investment fee for the training is 300,000, and people who pay early bird get the opportunity to this transformational change at 250. But because you are here at this conference, you get the opportunity to enjoy the special conference offer and take the course at a discounted rate of 200,000. Can you clap for the Institute? And so if you're interested in the Family Systems Engineering Certification course and becoming trained so that you can have access to professional diagnostic tools, please see the team at the back there and they will give you more information. If you take an advantage of this offer, then you can get trained at 200,000. At the cost of the plenary session, some things came up. And I just want to add a few to it. When you are, someone said something about man and the woman in the family. The head of the family, like we know, is the husband. Now, sometimes I'm having conversations with people and we ask man and woman who is superior. And people say, man. Then I say, husband and wife who is superior. And what do we hear? So you see that people interchangeably use man for husband. A man is not necessarily a husband. It is the husband who has accepted the role in the marriage who is the man, who is the husband. And when you're talking about discipline, it's important that we know that whatever culture we are setting in our families, and I'm glad that this year's conference is talking about positive family culture and African development. There are certain key criteria that you need to consider when you're choosing the discipline plan or the behavior modification technique that you want to use in your home. One of the things you should consider is to be careful in choosing any behavior modification technique that would cause more problem than the problem you're trying to address. Sometimes some of us deploy fear-based, problem-focused disciplinary measures as against value-based, solution-focused disciplinary measures. That's why when Prof was giving the keynote address, he said that your family values is very important and it needs to be known by every member of your family. If we want to take discipline from the root word, is disarray, which means to learn. The root word for discipline is the same root word for the word disciple, meaning that every disciplinary measures that you want to adopt is one who causes your child to learn to be a disciple. And is there any disciple who is not following an ideology? Is there any disciple who is not following a message, a culture? That is what you are spreading. If you bring it to Christendom, you say, go be disciples and go ye tell the message. So that means that one of the most effective disciplinary measures you can adopt is one that is tied to your family culture and values. And so if you're going to deploy any disciplinary measure, ensure that it is making your child a disciple of your family culture and values, so that you do not create more problems when you use measures that could affect your child's self-esteem and efficacy in other areas of his life. This has been one of the best African Family Life Delegate Conference, and I'll tell you why. Because this year's conference, we have delegates from outside of Nigeria coming, representing other African countries. Can we put our hands to appreciate them? And so I'm going to call we have two communities, and I'm going to call a representative from each of the communities, and in just 2 minutes, they have a word for us. Because like I tell you, the conference is about a better Africa. So please join me to welcome Mrs. Victoria Oshunuga from the Togolese Elders Community to come give us your word for us. Can we put our hands together for her?
Them at home. A bad woman, I will drive the woman away. Because, no, you know why? If you let that child, a male or a female, died, you will not have another one. But the man will go and get another wife. And the woman will get another husband. So please, that's my little advice to women. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So if you're having issues, don't stay back home. Don't stay back there. Talk to your family members about it, and let's listen to them when they come. So quickly, to give us a word from the ECOWAS community is Mr. Mali Abukena. Please put your hands together for him. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The honorable members of the high table, they are no more here. I am Mr. Mali, the president of Togolese communities in Nigeria, Lagos State chapter. I thank the organizer of this program very much for the opportunity given to us to attend this meeting. and then go back to our society members to counsel them about how to take care about their families. And thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. African Family Life Delegate Conference, Transforming Africa Through Families. While the plenary session was going on, this gentleman walked in.